Good morning, YouTube. Reseller Mom here. Welcome to today's video. Today is January 6th. It is a Thursday, and starting my morning off addressing a customer expiration complaint. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how this happened, what I did, what I researched, how I went about everything, so that hopefully if you have any sort of complaints on your Amazon FBA dashboard, maybe something I have here will help you. So if it does help you, don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up. That helps out my channel. And I'm going to give a short answer though. I did not wind up writing a plan of action, and I used the account health dashboard and just acknowledged this complaint. So that was kind of interesting. Amazon is always changing things, and the last time I got a customer expiration date complaint was years ago, and I wound up having to submit receipts and doing a plan of action, and this time I was gearing up to do that and I didn't have to. But I do have some slides on how I go about doing the research from start to finish and what the steps are that I take. So I still think there's some value here to share, and kind of what happens in the Amazon system. So thanks for joining me today. Let's get going. Amazon has slowly moved to more and more automation of things with keywords triggering the system. And this one in particular, I had a negative feedback, a feedback of 1, and there was a lot to the feedback. It was kind of a long one, but in essence, the short part is they used these words right here. These expire in less than 2 months, and that is what flagged the system. The rest of it was just kind of ranting about how they bought in bulk and blah, 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 but that's what flagged the system. So once these words, and you know what? I do have a webcam. Hold on. There we go. Playing with my new technology. I keep forgetting it's there. So that's what flagged the system. And the next morning, let's see here, last night. So I got this review probably about 24 hours before I got the system from Amazon auto mail that said, please review your listings. That was the title of the email, so you want to make sure you're not flagging, or this doesn't go to your spam or get auto filtered out. Please review your listings, and it's from no replies appeals at amazon.com, and it says, dear, my business name, we have received a buyer complaint that the product they received was close to or past expiration date. So it doesn't even have to be expired, it just needs to be within the time frame that the customer doesn't feel they can use it. A lot of times you're going to run into this more so with vitamins. This was a candy product. Vitamins, let's say you have a bottle of vitamins that takes 120 days to use. It's 120 days of vitamins to use, and the customer receives it and they only have 90 days. They're not going to be able to use that product up. So if you're doing vitamins or anything like that, you're going to want to pay attention to those dates and have a really long expiration date. The rest of the email goes down and furthers to say, and you could pause the video and read it. Amazon's emails are kind of dry and not very fun to read, but it goes down and it says, we need to create a plan of action, and these are the parts that they want me to address. So I was all gearing up last night and this morning, kind of researching and getting things put together to go ahead and do a plan of action. But luckily I didn't do too much research. Most of it was for this video, and I didn't have to submit a plan of action, so that was fabulous. And I'm really tickled. Like, that just made my day right now. My day was all looking glum with this, and now it's looking much better. Alright, so once you receive that email, it will pop up on your account dashboard. This is my account dashboard. I don't usually hide much of anything from you all. It's pretty black and white out there. And it's going to come in as a product condition customer complaint right here. If it doesn't show up right away, I've had the system sometimes take a day, 12 hours or something to get figured out and pop up on here to where you can appeal it. I have had, in very rare instances, once or twice in my life, where I've gotten an email, it says it's going to be on the dashboard, and then it never shows up because whatever this problem was, it got fixed. Like a lot of times it's a trademark or whatever in the title of the product, and by the time I get to it, whoever was the owner of that listing has gone in and changed the title, so it's already fallen off of my dashboard by the time I see it. But if it's not showing up and you're like, what the heck, what's going on, you can always hit the call me now button, which is super helpful. They will call you and you can have them look into it, and they can tell you, you know, yes, this was removed, or, you know, it's already been taken care of, just to get that peace of mind, because the last thing you want is something not working right with your account and then it leads to bigger problems, right? These restricted policy violations are something that will fall off after, what is it, 120 days or something like that, 6 months usually. And, you know, there's nothing more that I can take care of there. And the other policy violations is where your, high price, low price items are going to get flagged. So I usually ignore those if it's not something that I'm going to change my price on. I'll let the lowballers sell out. But, you know, you want to keep an eye out on all of these things and make sure that you're in the good rating. Although, from what I can tell, this little health rating, the good, the bad, you know, the red, green, yellow, doesn't mean much. Take it with a grain of salt. Because if you have a brand new account, very little dings are going to send you into a possible suspension. And I've seen other more seasoned accounts that have all sorts of dings and they're fine. So it's definitely based on volume and whatnot. So don't take that little bar up there too, like, to heart. All right, I'm going to go through my steps, and then I'm going to go through the websites that I used or was planning on using to address this. So if you do need to write a POA, you can kind of maybe reference those websites. I'll have to bring them up in a second here. But my plan of action for any of these complaints is pretty much the same. We're going to gather all the information. You know, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? We're going to do some research. I'm going to make a folder, and then I'm going to have somebody review everything. That's my steps. And to me, like, having a grounded step-by-step, this is what I'm going to do, really helps me out, because then I can reference this and not get overwhelmed, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to track down all those receipts and I got to make a POA and it's got to be good and I don't know, and you're staring at a blank screen. It can get very overwhelming. So gathering information, I use Inventory Labs to track all of my product expiration dates and inventory. So I need to go gather all the reports from Inventory Labs. I'm going to show you what we did for this one. Any invoices. So my invoice system, usually when my products come in, I'll write the expiration date on the packing list or the invoice or whatnot, and then I have a drawer over to my left that has, for all of my wholesale companies, each wholesale company has a tab. So for this one, this was a wholesale order. It went into the wholesale folder, so I can easily pull and look at my last shipments, what were the dates, have my invoices ready to go. I do similar with my emails. On my emails, every company that I do business with my business email, has a folder, and a lot of things are auto-filed into their folder. So like take Target, for example. Target sends you so many emails about, you know, their shipping. You've placed an order, we've got your order, we're thinking about shipping your order, we've shipped your order's on the way, your order's arrived. And I filter all of those emails right into a folder called Target. So have all of your paperwork and emails, kind of get a system, whatever that system is. If it works for you, it works for you, but get a system so that when you do need to pull those invoices or those receipts, you can do it. And I suggest you test yourself out on this if you are just starting up and you want to see if your system works. Pick a day, pick a file, pick a folder, pick a something, and try finding the receipt for an item. You know, go to your inventory and just randomly put your finger on something and see how quick you can track down that paperwork if you had a complaint about it. we used to do this all the time in QA for recalls. You know, how fast could we track down all the product that's been recalled in our company? And I would time ourselves, and it would be under 10 minutes every single time. So I'm very versed. When I switched over to Amazon and did this, I knew kind of what the best paperwork system was for me to find that product. All right, going forward, this was suggested on one of the, I did some research last night on the internet, reading forums and blog posts and stuff like that. Going forward, some people suggested with this particular incidence with the expiration date is to take pictures of the product or the case pack of the expiration date and keeping that with the invoice or, in a file somewhere, which is interesting, so that you could prove that your item is not expired. Similarly, if you needed to recall the product, you could recall the product, take the pictures, and then submit it. But a lot of times, getting that product back in your hands is going to take a long time. Longer than what you don't want to have that ding on your account dashboard for the 2 weeks that it takes Amazon to kind of return things to you. So that was an idea that I'm going to think about going forward. And then in Amazon, you want to go and pull anything you have there, such as if you recall the product, you want to have that reference recall order number. And I've had to recall products before and reference, those products. Part of my action plan with your POA was I recalled the products, and here's the recall number and the amount recalled. The second part, research. Listen, this is my go-to. I Google Amazon FBA, start with that, Amazon FBA, and then whatever it is you're trying to research. And in this instance, it was customer complaint on product expiration date. And I'm going to go through kind of all the first page hits and filter out anybody that's asking for money. You get a lot of hits on websites that are like, we will get your account reinstated for X dollars. Filter those out and look at boards and what people suggest, because a lot of times people will post their plan of action and then other people will say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and offer a lot of great advice. A lot of the advice that I saw last night that was good was people write in their plan of actions that I will, and they said change the verse. I have done this. I have done it. Not I will think about doing this. I will, you want to change the tense in your plan of action to what you have already done, which was really good advice. I find at least 3 websites or links that offer this type of suggestion on wording, action ideas, and what not to put in a POA. And I put those right onto my Trello board. So this morning when I was going to go write it, I was going to reference those 3 websites. And that's what I'll share with you in a second after this slide right here. But then you have all of those suggestions and ideas kind of ready to go, and you're not starting from ground zero. The next thing I will do is make a folder on my computer or Google Drive, wherever you're doing folders, and start up my drafts. I draft up my notes. So on my notes, I'm going to put things like, when did I order it from? Who was it from? How many was sent in? What were the expiration dates on that? I'm going to start adding all my facts and gathering my information and putting it onto those notes. Then those notes are going to be used to draft up my POA. And that draft POA is going to be called draft POA, and draft notes, and everything's going to be put under a folder. And in this one, I would, for instance, call it candy expiration date incident, and then I always date it. And my dates go 01, like today's the 6th, so it'd be 01/06/22. And that's another, just working in the industry and having to go back and look at things, you need to timestamp and date stamp things so that you can go back and reference it, because I've had things come back and I don't want to say bite you in the butt, but you need to find them, and having a way to name and file and whatnot really helps out in the long run. The next thing is I'm going to get all of my screenshots, pictures, invoices, labels, and names formatted, annotated, and put in correct format. So if you have pictures and they're too high resolution, get those resized, get them named right. And for Amazon, you want to have everything named dummy-wise. So if it's a screenshot of Candy X, ASIN X, name it so that it's as simple and easy to read for the person that's looking at it. You don't want to have it be name, you know, XYZ123 rando numbers and whatnot. So start gathering that up, and again, putting it all into a folder, neat and nice, because sometimes these things are really quick. Like today, I could have fixed this in 2 seconds, and I've had plan of actions drag on like Lucetta. I've talked about that in past things, for over 6 months or close to 6 months. I think it was just about 6 months. So having it all kind of nice and tidy really helps out. Then I'm going to have somebody review my final draft and any of the supporting evidence. Particularly, can you read this in the picture that is taken? Can you open it up on your computer? Check for spelling and grammar errors, especially if English is a second language. You want to make sure that your words flow correctly and everything is in your words, again, nice and tidy. You're going to need to filter out any fluff words. You know, this is not a writing competition, and I've seen some POAs that have been put out there that would be great if you were writing a fantasy novel. It's very descriptive and lovely writing, but this is more technical writing, so kill all the fluffy words out there. All right, I'm going to do this slide too, and then I'm going to show you the websites that I found. So have a network in place. If you are just starting Amazon or, you know, you're kind of a loner and maybe don't have a network, this is something that you probably need to work on. You need to have somebody that you can vent to, run ideas past, and proof your POAs, actions, and emails. And they could be with all of the pieces, or you can redact some information if it's somebody that maybe you're not comfortable sharing that. Say it's another Amazon seller and you don't want them to know your exact item, you know, go ahead and redact it, but the rest of it should be pretty good to go for proofing. It does not have to be another seller though. I have had my husband look at things, I have had friends, family, I've had internet friends look and proofread something and see, you know, does this flow right? Do you think it makes sense? Would you be able to understand this if you were reviewing hundreds of POAs a day and maybe English was a different, you know, your second language? Does it make sense? If you have a coach, that would be something that maybe they could run this by. Facebook groups can be good. You know, take it with a grain of salt. If you're not comfortable with Facebook groups, maybe reach out in the Facebook groups and ask for somebody that would proof your POA, but you're not comfortable posting it fully on a group. My pets have heard me rant and rave about many a customers and idiotic Amazon things or spiritual. So if you are spiritual in any way, you know, somebody to talk to, and if that's just the mirror or your pets or somebody that's not going to be responsive, sometimes that helps out too. If you need help, this is where you need to have a plan, a place, or a person, or those references set up. You can go to the Amazon seller forums. It's not my favorite place to go. I like more personal one-on-ones, but it is a place that you can go to, that you can fall back on. There are many professional sites. My lawyer's information is down below, which is kind of my last resort going to. There's also Fiverr. There's some other groups. There's one law group, and I can't remember the name of it off my top of my head, but it's something like $99 a month, and then you have access to a lawyer as needed, and you get so many with your year of subscription and stuff, and I can't remember the name of it. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure you do, go ahead and post in the just comments down below what that is. And then Facebook groups. If you are going to post anything on your Facebook groups, make sure you outline exactly what the issue is and what you need help with, what you're looking for. Because a lot of times people just say, I'm suspended, can anybody help me? Okay, that's really too vague. What were you suspended for? What are you looking for exactly? Are you looking for professional help? Are you looking for a reference to a lawyer? Are you looking for somebody to review your plan of action? Are you looking for guidance and a friend to vent to? What are you looking for? You know, don't be super vague. Outline what exactly you are looking for. All right, so last night I was just researching different, websites and whatnot that I could possibly use to help me write the POA in the morning. And I take those links and I put them into my Trello board so that I have them right at the get-go this morning when I was getting up to take care of this problem. Trying to do anything knee-jerk at night, I got this email probably at like 10 o'clock last night, so it was not a time to really do any knee-jerk type of reactions, but it was a good time to go ahead and start gathering. So these are the 4 spots that kind of looked like they could offer me some good advice, and I will link them in the description box down below if you are encountering this and do need to write a plan of action. This guy, it was okay. I watched his whole 10-minute video last night. It was all right. It was a lot of no-brainer stuff that I've kind of already touched on, but he also will help you draft a plan of action if needed. I'm not endorsing this guy by any means, not endorsing or anything, just telling you what I came across on the internet. This one was from the Amazon seller forums, and they go over a lot of what they wrote, and then there was a lot of feedback on their plan, such as changing the tense, instead of I will, I have, etc. And some good advice such as don't ever put in your plan of action that the customer was an idiot and they were wrong and you're right. No plan of actions will ever go through with that. Amazon is not looking for that. They're looking very specifically for you to address the root cause, implement something that will prevent it from happening again. It's very cut and dry. And as much as the customer was wrong, then they don't want to hear it. They don't care. This one is by Ed. He runs a great website or Facebook group that I'm part of. A lot of people are part of. And it's good to kind of be up to date with different, whatever's going on in the Amazon world. He's got a lot of good posts going on there. And there is a lot of help there. So a lot of people help each other with plans of action. So if I were going to ask for help on a Facebook group, it would be probably his, on where I would either reach out to ask somebody for help to review something or actually post it and ask for help. But this is where he has some good suggestions with taking the picture of the product and dates and some of the, action things. And of course you can pay him or get a free consultation. I'm, again, not endorsing him at all. Just like my lawyer down below, I do endorse her, love her, she's great, she's helped me out with many sticky situations, but it's costly. You've got to weigh the time and effort and cost into your situation. If you've been suspended and you're losing $3 grand a day and you're going to pay a lawyer $500 to fix your situation, yeah, that's something you need to do. But if you've just got one of these little dings, take a couple stabs at it yourself before you dive into paying somebody if you're comfortable doing that. All right, and then this is the other one that I found. How to create the perfect plan of action in only 4 steps. It was a pretty good blog post, read through it. If nothing else, every time you do these research things, you do learn more every time and get better at it, right? That's a good goal, is to get better at everything. So again, I'm not endorsing any of these, but perhaps they can help you out. All right, back to my issue. When you click on the health dashboard and then the product policy compliance, you can see exactly, I had to click the little arrow down, but these are the words that flagged my item. Item expires in less than 2 months. Then there's going to be a little button over to the right that says appeal. You always want to appeal or fight any little ding on your account because they can add up and be problematic. So I clicked the appeal button and came to this page and I was like, holy smokes, all I gotta do is click those boxes and hit submit. Are they not going to ask for a detailed plan of action, etc.? The other thing that you could do is there was a button that said if you believe this was in error, you can click that and go that route. I didn't do that. With Amazon, a lot of times it's easier just to click through, do what they want, and move on. Trying to fight with Amazon, you've got to pick your battles. I've got a lot going on in the office. This is a pretty easy, low risk type of complaint. So for me, it's just easier to go ahead and say, yes, I've checked everything out, everything's good, and it's not going to happen again, and hit submit. I have had, like I said, 2 expiration date problems in 6 years of selling on Amazon. So it's not something that I typically run across, and therefore I'm not really worried about trying to prove that I'm right and they're wrong. And sometimes you just aren't going to ever do that with Amazon. They don't like to ever admit fault in anything. And they don't like to have their customers be at fault either. Okay, so basic research. Whether you are in the right or in the wrong, every single negative feedback, ding on my account, voice of the customer, anything like that, I am always going to go research and see what's going on. Was the customer just completely wackadoo, or do they have some truth to it and I need to take some action? So I want to go research and make sure that I'm good to go, and there's nothing more that I should be doing for business. There's no process changes, packing changes, nothing that I really need to change in my business and fix so that I don't have these complaints going forward. The last thing you want to do is be like, that customer's an idiot, and have it be a fault that you did or your supplier did. Next thing you know, you've got a dozen dings on your account and you're suspended. So always, always, always research and figure it out. With Inventory Lab, it makes it easy. So hopefully whatever software you're using, it's easy to do. I go to Inventory, FBA Inventory, type in the copy and paste the ASIN, and you can see all of the times you have replenished and what is left of that inventory. One of the things in this type of scenario is to reference that you use the FIFO system, first in, first out, and you'd want to document that you do use an inventory management system, you use the FIFO system. That was some good recommendation and tips from those sites that I shared with you. From this one, I can see that out of the last 80 I sent in December, 48 are left, and they just went in like last month. So what the heck? Now you cannot see the dates from here, the expiration dates. So what I do is, again, take the ASIN, go over to List Closed Batches, pop in the ASIN, and you will see all the batches that it went into and what was going on. So I went ahead and I checked out this one, and I also checked out my October one just to make sure. When you click on that, you will see everything that was in that batch. Again, copy paste, Control F to find the ASIN or scroll down. This one was a very, I only have 4 products, so it was easy to find, and it was the 3rd product down. The expiration date on it was 11/18 of 2024. So yeah, I don't know why this person thought that, I don't know why they're stocking up. It's a candy, A. Like, who stocks up on candy? Really? Come on. It's ridiculous. And 2, it's 2022. It just turned 2022, and you literally have 2.5 years. So you're telling me you want candy to last more than 2.5 years? Get out of here. This is where I go and talk to my dog and be like, this person's ridiculous, right? Or you guys. That's another way to kind of get it off your brain, huh? You can film YouTube videos. The other batch that I checked out, the expiration date was 7/19 of 2024. Again, in Inventory Lab and with Amazon, you need to send different expiration dates in different batches. So, yeah. From this point, I didn't really, what do you call it? Like, I knew I was in the right, and my next step would be to go pull the invoices, etc., and start gathering that up. But what I did instead was I was like, well, I'm going to click that button and see if I even do that, because why am I going to do all this extra work and write out a fabulous plan of action and spend my whole morning doing that if I just got to click these boxes? And sure enough, I click the boxes, hit submit, and boom, it says we've received your submission. Your account health page will be updated within 24 hours. I was like, that's it? So I'm in a euphoric stage, and I've had like 4 cups of coffee, so yeah. And now I've had, while I've been filming this, 2 of my employees have called out for the day. I just can't. I know everybody's got staffing issues, so my day keeps changing. Anyhow, for you guys, I wanted to go through this and kind of put it out there in the long form on, what you can do and step by step. And these bullet points, if you do need to make a plan of action, you would want to use a lot of the wording from this. So if I did a plan of action, my first kind of paragraph to start off with would be, I have identified the root causes driving this customer complaint and have implemented preventive steps to ensure that this issue does not occur again in the future. Okay? You want to use, spit their verbiage right back at them, because that's what they're looking for. Don't get all fluffy and whatnot and be like, I found out the customer was full of poop and they, clearly couldn't read the expiration date, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, we'd like to put that, right? We'd like to put that, but that's not really what you should put. And this is something that if I were to give my friend or whatnot my plan of action to look over, I'd be like, this is what Amazon's looking for. Do you feel I address this and answer this in what I've written? And they should be able to say yes or no and make some good recommendations and check for grammar and spelling and all that good stuff. All right, guys, I think that is it. If this has helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button. I aim to help people out with this channel. That's what my channel is all about. And I hope you guys are having an awesome new year. All right.